Hello, my friends. Have you ever gone silent when it mattered most? Have you ever walked away from a conversation thinking, oh, why didn't I say that? Or have you ever felt like your message got completely lost in translation? Well, you are not alone and you are in the right place. Welcome to Breaking Bad Communication, where we challenge the habits, headspace, and hangups that keep you from being heard. My name is Kathy Riley. Oh, who am I? Ha! Kathy Riley. I'm a communication strategist, founder of the Clarity Code, and your guide with over 25 years in the courtroom and another 15 as a speaker, trainer, and entrepreneur. This podcast is your real world playbook for mastering tough conversations, building unshakable confidence, and showing up with the kind of clarity that changes everything from boardrooms to break rooms to your own backyard. So put your seatbelts on, my friends. We are going to dig in. We have a very special guest today, Miss Kate Paine.
Woohoo!
Whew, Jeez Louise, I am tongue-tied today. Miss Kate Paine, I have known her, well, gosh, it's been about a decade. Have
It's
we
been a
known
while.
each other? Yeah, she is a personal branding and visibility expert with over 30 years in PR and marketing. As the founder of Standing Out Online, she helps entrepreneurs, speakers, and authors craft compelling stories and elevate their authority, especially by leveraging the LinkedIn platform. Known for her disruptive PR approach, Kate turns digital profiles into powerful personal brands that attract the right fit audience. She's passionate about helping people be seen, heard, and remembered for who they truly are.
Yes.
Welcome, Miss Payne. I'm
Hello,
so
Kathy.
excited that you are here.
I'm excited to be here. Thank you.
You are just what you do online is so important today. So whether you as a listener, whether you are an entrepreneur, a business owner, or whether you are working the 9 to 5, and I think it's important you have an online presence. Would you agree, Miss Kate?
Abso-freaking-lutely. Yes. I mean, in this day and age, if you're in business and you want to get your message out and you want to have the impact that you do in your business, if you're not online in some way, shape, or form, you're missing a lot of opportunities. It's going to be a lot more difficult. And I know there's people who are listening right now being like, "Oh, I hate social media,"
Mhm.
or "I don't want to do this," or "I don't want to do that." And yet, if you're going to be a savvy business person and be the savvy entrepreneur that you are, you also have to adapt and you have to take things on that you might not enjoy. But if you figure out ways to be visible online that do resonate with you and you do
Yeah.
those well, then that's going to make it more fun and it's going to make you more
Yes.
excited to do it.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
all about
Yes.
opportunity. In fact, I have a quote when I do trainings or in keynote speaking and stuff like that. I always say visibility equals opportunity. So you know you
Mm.
should you I hate to say should, but you should embrace that.
Right, the woulda, coulda, shouldas.
Yeah,
But
right,
yes,
exactly.
yes, yes. And and I have to tell you, so I'm an introvert. We all know this. Everybody knows this. And as I stepped into being a business owner and all of this, I don't it doesn't matter whether I like it or not.
Yeah.
It doesn't, my feelings have nothing to do with it. I have to go where the people are. Like the
Yes.
song, right? You've got to go where they are,
Right.
and they're online.
Right.
Um and I love that. So you are known for saying that a lot of people are hiding in plain sight, especially
Mhm.
online,
Mhm.
and especially in LinkedIn. Tell us
Mhm.
what is like one of the top mistakes people are making that is preventing them from being visible?
Fear.
Mm.
And from the standpoint of they're afraid that like they might like the notion of doing video, but then they're like, I don't know how to do it. I don't have the right camera. I don't have the right microphone. I don't have the right makeup. I don't have the right, you know what I mean? Like they find all these reasons that keeps them from just doing it. And if there is one thing we've learned in this day and age, you do not, if you're gonna do online video, you have one of these, you have a phone that you can
We
record
have
on.
smartphones,
Yeah, we have
yeah.
smartphones, right? And it doesn't have to be expensive, polished video where you go to a studio and you have to spend a lot of money. You've got that little tool right in your hand to show up. So finding ways to do that. And maybe you don't want to do video. Maybe you'd rather write. So maybe, you think about what kind of content can I be putting out? And I'm not talking about regular social media content. Like, what can I put out that is going to resonate with people who might want to work with me? Because remember, when you're putting all of this content out online, whatever content that is for you, whichever sort of medium that is for you, you're building relationships first. You're making
Mm.
connections, you're building relationships, you're getting people to know, like, and trust you. We always hear about know, like, and trust, but that's what builds. And if you do that consistently over time, you become like a known entity, so to speak. People see you as a go-to resource for that niche that you have in whatever your business is. And that takes time to build. But that's where you have to just you literally you just like Nike, you just do it. You have
Just
to.
do it.
What's Sandra Yancey's CEO of eWomen? What's her little thing about imperfect action beats perfect action every time or
Correct.
something like that? So it doesn't have to be polished. Like, give yourself a break. Just start. Figure out which way you're comfortable and just start doing that and do more of it. And you don't have to do it every day. Seriously.
That was going to be one of my next
Yeah.
questions. So, okay, I'm assuming video is queen, right?
Video is
If
queen on all channels.
on all channels, okay. And but is it the so pictures and post and content are second, right? They're
They're
close.
sort of there's listen, we could make up all these like uh conditions, if you will, right?
Okay.
If the idea of doing video for yourself is something that just you loathe, that there's no way you want to do it, then don't do it.
Yeah.
And so then, like, okay, if I don't want to do video, then what can I do? Well, then if you want to create compelling, engaging content, not just the I did the blah, 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 or I read the blah, 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 or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, if you really put some thought into what you want to put out there to help people, to serve people, and you do that in the form of a text post with a graphic, and that's where you're comfortable, then do that and do that consistently. Or add to that, maybe doing a LinkedIn newsletter, for example, or doing a blog, or if you already do a blog on your website, repurpose that as a LinkedIn newsletter so that you get two pieces of content out of one. I mean, you get two mediums out of one piece of content, and then you get different eyes on that. So get clever, get like efficient with how you want to use the content you have. You don't have to keep reinventing the wheel all the time.
I love that. So what I hear you saying, and I'd like the audience to listen to this, is let's say you are doing a newsletter, right? You can use that as a blog. You can
Yes.
use that as a LinkedIn newsletter.
Yes.
You can pull out a quote and do that as a post. There's a variety. You can repurpose this in a multitude of
Yes.
ways across platforms, right?
Right. Yes. I mean, I'll give you an example, and I'm sure you're aware
Okay.
of this because of your podcast, right? So when I do my show, my Coffee with Kate show, I do it as a live webcast, which means I use a tool called StreamYard. So when I do my show, I have a guest and it goes out concurrently to my YouTube, my Facebook, and my LinkedIn. Okay. When that replay happens, my team takes that replay, that video replay, and we make 6 to 8 snippets of vertical video content after the fact. There's all kinds of tools to make this easy on you. You don't have to be a video editor to do this anymore. And then I also will take some of those vertical videos and we will also make them written content with a graphic. So that's one piece of content that I produce that I'm using in 2 or 3 different ways, which gives me multiple pieces of content over a period of time, not just one flash in the pan.
I love that.
You
I
you said
love
it too, the
that.
blog. Take a long format blog, repurpose it. Maybe one thing is maybe repurpose it as a LinkedIn newsletter. Take that same blog and then make snippets to pull out little snippets, little tidbits of that blog that can stand alone. so that they make
Yeah.
sense. And then you could get maybe 4 or 5 posts, separate posts out of that
Yeah.
one blog.
I love that. I love that. So you can spend energy and time in one
Yes.
thing and then disperse it in a multitude. Just break it up into little things,
Yes.
which
And I'll
is
go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, I said work smarter, not harder. And what were you going to
Exactly.
say?
I was going to say, so the other thing is people go like, okay, I hear what you're saying, Kate and Kathy. I still don't really know like what to talk about. Like if you're saying I don't want to do this and that, like the regular stuff, then what should I do? All right. So think about your what I call your pillars of content or your content pillars. Typically there's 3 or 4. You're not having 10, okay? So like one of my content pillars is behind the scenes. So when I'm at an eWomen event in person, or I'm on a virtual event for something, or I'm doing a webinar for a lot of people that I've been prepping for, and I'm taking pictures of my setting and where I'm at and all my stuff and my lights. And, I do a little post about like, here I am getting ready to do my webinar for 100 registered attendees. Look what it takes behind the scenes to put this on. And then when the camera goes on, it's like, hi, I'm Kate, and here I am to teach you this, right? But behind the scenes, meeting somebody at let's say you go to an event and you meet the keynote speaker who you admire, or you meet somebody who's the author of a book that you've read, get a selfie with them and maybe do a little, if you want to do video, do a little video interview on your phone and use that as content. Do behind the scenes is unexpected and everybody wants to know what's going on behind the
Yeah.
camera. So behind the scenes content can be a variety of different things. It's just that it's unexpected, and can be fun. And then think about like, okay, when I talk about my superpower, whatever your superpower is, how would you break that down into different topics? And you sort of do this offline. You make a little good old fashioned flow chart, if you will, And then think about what is my main pillar for my content? Is it educational? Is it tips? Am I giving tips and tricks? You know what I mean? Like think about how you
Yeah.
want that to come out. So once you create your 3 or 4 pillars, and one of those pillars, which is the least amount of content you want to do, is the promotional, especially on LinkedIn. So if all you do, what a lot of people do on LinkedIn, just because they don't know better, I'm not throwing anybody under the bus, is they don't know how to use LinkedIn. So all they ever do
Right.
is advertise, I'm speaking at this, I'm on this virtual summit, I'm doing a webinar, and it's all the stuff that you're doing. But if that's all you're doing, LinkedIn's algorithm sees that as 100% promotional for you. They want to
Mm.
see the more, the meaty content, the stuff that gets people like interested and wants to learn more. And you leave people with a takeaway. And that's, people want to know like what's in it for me. So,
Yeah.
so, so, so you got to think about that with your content. So one of my content pillars is promotional, but it's 10% of the content I create like for the month. 10%.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. I kind of focus with the 80-20
Yeah.
rule, right? But 10% is perfect.
Yeah.
I love that. And I often talk about it, especially, I'm a speaker, I'm a trainer. I do that, and my clients
You're a
are in that
fabulous speaker.
arena.
I've heard you
Oh,
speak
thank
many
you.
times.
Thank you. One of the things is what's you said it. What's in it for them? What problem do you solve?
Right.
Okay.
Right. Exactly.
Talk about that. Talk about the
Right.
solutions and the tips to the problems you solve. And people are like, ooh, that was really good. What else has she got? What else does he have? What else does he know? Does he
Right.
have a book? Does she have this? Does she have that?
Exactly.
Ooh.
Right. But before you talk about like how you're doing this thing, you've been hopefully consistently posting. You can post 1 time a week on LinkedIn. In fact, even Instagram is saying less is more. So I don't
Ooh.
claim to
Okay.
be an Instagram expert, but I certainly know how LinkedIn works for the most part. If you post once a week on LinkedIn, as time builds and you start to see the engagement build, and it is a bit of a slow dance, so be patient. And you start to see that, then you're like, maybe I want to post 2 times a week. So I post 3 times a week. I post like a
Okay.
Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or a Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday, because that's a good cadence. And the thing is, by the time I put out a post that I'm doing a free webinar or something, Nobody's going, God, all Kate talks about is what she's doing on this, that, and another thing. And she's probably trying to sell something. So, but this way, they've seen me share a new LinkedIn tip, or they've heard me talk about story, or how to leverage your personal brand, or how to create snippets from one piece of content. Do you know what I mean? Like they're learning something. So that's building the connection and the trust so that by the time I do post something about I'm holding this free webinar, I get people, I get people registering. I get 50 people registering within maybe 2 days of one post. But that's because
Nice.
I've nurtured that over time. It didn't just happen overnight, you know? And
Right.
so it's all about building that relationship, building the know, like, and trust.
I love
Let me
that.
make the quote so that people understand where that came from. So there's a gentleman by the name of Bob Burg, Burg, and he wrote a wonderful book called The Go Giver, and he's done a whole series of books on that. And so he is the one that talked about the KLT factor. This is attributed to him. So know, like, and trust. So the quote is, people will do business with and refer business to people that they know, like, and trust.
Yeah. I love that. And I've heard that book. I don't have it. I have
Yeah,
to get
it's
it
a great
because
book.
I talk about that. But I wanted to reiterate. So what I hear, you're talking about creating like a cadence with your
Cadence.
posting.
Yes.
So whether it's once or three times, you being the expert in your industry, you do three times a
I do
week.
now. I didn't in the beginning. I mean, I've worked up to
Right?
it.
And we are looking at it, it's a slow burn like you said, so you're building relationships, you're kind of dating. So and if you think of like the marriage proposal is actually the sale, so right, you want to build this relationship, you're dating, I like you like me, come on, we got to
Yep.
build that like before they actually convert. And they're talking now, I think the studies are saying it's over like 20 touches before you actually see a conversion on a
Yep.
lot of things, which means you've got to be showing the love, showing the value, right? So you're doing that. You do 90% of what you do is value, 10% is actually sale, right?
Yep.
Looking for that conversion. So you're dating people, right? And it's
Yes. Yes. Yep.
a slow burn. I like how you said that.
Yeah, slow dance is actually what I said, but that's okay. Slow
Slow
burn,
dance.
slow dance. Yep. Yes, yes. It's a great visual.
I, so I think one of the mistakes that I often see with people utilizing social media and whatnot is they worry about sharing too much when it comes to storytelling.
Hmm.
And they think, well, it's too personal, it's too this, it's too that. What suggestions can you give our audience about telling their stories?
Okay. I'm going to break that, if you're okay with it, I'm going to break that into like two different types of story. Okay? Are
Perfect.
you okay with that? Okay. So the
Absolutely.
first one is, so let's go back to thinking about how you show up on maybe the about page of your website, or your the about section of your LinkedIn personal profile page. Okay.
Okay.
So both of them together. When you write that, what a lot of people do is they put up a bio, like the type of bio that, like, if you speak on stage, you create like an introduction that people read to introduce you onto stage. That's like a stage intro. And then there's a bio, which people have if they're going to be on a podcast, or they might have a bio that's like they had to write a bio because they wrote a book or they helped co-author a book or something like that. And that's another. So to me, those are kind of like bio like. They're third person. There are a few sentences that talk about like your expertise in this industry, years in doing this, credentials in that. And it's a good thing to have that kind of bio for those certain needs. But when you're thinking about showing up with authenticity and personality, right? I want you to think of it a little bit differently. So, for example, on your about section of your LinkedIn profile, I teach my clients what I call my three-part recipe for the about. It's who you are, what you do, and an outcome you provide. Those are the three things in that order that you want to address in those 2,600 characters. It's approximately 500 words. Okay. So
Okay.
if you start out with the who you are, Now, when someone arrives to your LinkedIn profile, they only see the first 2 or 3 lines of your about section, and they want you to click. LinkedIn wants you to click on that little see more link to like open the whole about section up so you can read the whole thing in its entirety. So if you start out with what I call a nugget of your personal story that is related to your work, related to your profession, okay? Then your story is yours. No one else has it. And so you got to come up with what does that look like? It's only a few sentences. The first sentence of my LinkedIn profile is I was an avid news junkie in 7th grade. And then I go into how that was what inspired me to want to become a journalist. I went away to college. I got an intern at CBS News in New York. And then while I didn't go into corporate broadcast, I went into public relations and marketing and writing because I wanted to help people tell their story. So like that's the through line, right? But it's this little
Ah,
visual of I was an avid news like in 7th grade I was a nerd, you know what I mean? So,
yeah,
and so that's just different. So that's what I mean. Like, figure out what your little story nugget, little slice of life story is, and then incorporate that into the beginning of your LinkedIn profile or the about page of your website. And you may have a similar story, but with different wording so that they're not duplicate on each one. So that's what I mean by that kind of a story. Use your story as personality to make a connection with people. It makes you relatable. Okay. It's not
yeah,
multiple paragraphs. It's not the bio. It's first person conversational, and you got to kind of play with this offline. Use ChatGPT or whatever to help you. And then there's the other storytelling, which is when if you're creating content on a platform like LinkedIn or your Facebook or your Instagram or whatever it is that you all are using, then you can take mini case studies perhaps of your client stories. You don't have to
ah,
name the client, but maybe there's a client success story, and maybe there's a lesson learned by doing something with a client that didn't work so well, but you learned this big lesson. And when you use those kinds of stories to illustrate a point, that makes it memorable to your reader and it makes it also relatable. So instead of just sort of, that's what makes content different is when you mini case studies or little things like that that it's not it's not going on and on. It's not your dirty laundry. You know what I mean? It's that's what I think a lot of people think when
yeah,
they think, well, my story, what's my story? They think it's got to be I think they think it's got to be like a chapter in a book. And
yeah.
that's not how I'm referring to it in these uses.
Yes, yes. Oh, I love that. I love that because it's funny. Recently, I have been, well, I celebrated my birthday in October, 57 years,
Happy birthday.
and
Happy belated. I think I wished you a birthday happy
thank you.
birthday on your
Yes,
Facebook.
you did. Yes, you did. But it dawned on me, there's a lot of people that don't know this version of me. And so I used it to as an opportunity to share a little bit about, you know, overcoming the loss of a child, overcoming the loss of divorce, right? Overcoming the insanity and multiple surgeries, two near death experiences. And yet I have this that I tell myself every day, I love my body, I love my body, I love my body because I'm here, I'm healthy.
Yes.
And it wasn't I wasn't trying to bring anybody down, and I didn't actually. I got so much positive, and that's like, so that's part of my story
Right.
of who I am. And it's funny how many people connected with me
Yep.
above beyond the post,
Right.
beyond the post.
Because
They're
you
like,
made a
I
connection with them because they've probably been through something in their own way, in their own life, a similar kind of thing. I mean, not your story, but it's like, oh my God, that kind of happened to me when such and such.
And that is truly how you build that know, like, and trust, when
Yep.
you create that connection on a deeper level.
Right. Right.
There's just
Absolutely.
so,
I
oh,
think people who are entrepreneurs in this day and age, especially if they've had their business for, let's say, 10 plus years, right? And they're pretty well established. And when social media first came out, or even 4 years ago, or even during COVID, there were all these sort of like certain structures, if you structures that I can't think of the word, of way content should be, right? With should with air quotes. And And it's not that anymore, because all of that was a strategy that worked then. But now and so then everybody jumps on the bandwagon and does it similarly. Like this is the kind of thing that's always evolving. And so then when you try to find ways to be different, to stand out from the noise, that's where your opportunity lies. And that's where you might get jazzed about it. Because I think we all think the shoulds. Well, I'm on LinkedIn. LinkedIn's professional. It's a business, it's a professional online networking platform. I don't think I can like show about this part of my life. I don't think I can be conversational and stuff like that. Yes, you can. You know, I'm not saying you should talk about your puppy or what your kids ate for breakfast unless you're a vet or a teacher or something or a chef.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like so yes, there's a vibe on all these different platforms. LinkedIn's vibe is different, but if you still be human and bring your professional piece to it and use your thought leaderships, this is what I say about your presence on LinkedIn. Be a resource, not a resume.
Oh, say that again,
Be a
please.
resource, not a resume. Everyone thinks their profile should just be this digital version of their resume, of their like printed out hard copy resume. And yes, but there's so much more you can add. And there's so many other aspects to that profile. So that think of your LinkedIn profile, once you optimize it, think of it as a mini landing page of you. And it complements your web presence, because remember, the only thing you own on the internet is your website. You don't own LinkedIn or Facebook or TikTok or Instagram. They could go belly up tomorrow and bye-bye. So
Right.
keep that in mind.
I love that you said that because that was one of the questions. I think often one of the biggest mistakes, because we're talking about Breaking Bad, right? Some of the mistakes people make is especially on LinkedIn, and even on like their about page for their website, it's it's their resume,
Yep.
right? I've worked
Yes.
here, I've done
Yep.
this, and da da da. I've won this
Nobody
award.
cares.
No, nobody can
They really
crap.
don't. I mean, I mean, unless you're like a lawyer or a CPA or a brain surgeon, your credentials matter. And I'm not saying that if you have credentials in other areas, of course they matter. But on your LinkedIn profile, they can live in your education section and in your licenses and certification section, and they can scan and see it without you having to, that's all you talk about. They want to, a lot of us are in businesses where we work with people in an intimate setting. You know what I mean? Like when I work with my clients and I'm helping them with their visibility efforts, I have to learn a lot about them, like who they are as a person, so that I can understand their purpose, so that I can help them with their messaging, which is the part that's going to be public facing. Do you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
we got to back it up to learn some of that stuff. So the conversations I have and I mean intimate, I don't mean like romantic intimate. I just mean they involve trust and comfort and ease, you know? And
Yeah, you really got to get to know them.
right, and you do too, Kathy, in what you do for
Yeah.
business. It's a very, you have people who are coaches, whether they're business coaches or life coaches or transformation coaches, that is very intimate. People really don't care like they used to about if you have 15 certifications. They want to make a
Yeah.
connection with you, and if they feel comfortable with you, that's going to be the selling point. That's going to be the thing that hooks them in. More and more so,
Right.
I think.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Love that. So, okay, with that in mind, you being the PR, so I think there's a lot of mistake as to what PR is. And we were
Mhm.
talking about this before we hopped on this call. So would love for you to share the audience. I mean, we talk about PR. I'm, old school, right?
Yep.
PR, print, things like that. In today's day and age, what is PR? Clear it up for
So
us.
PR, of course, stands for public relations. And so for years, PR was you'd have a PR firm or a PR agency, and you'd make pitches to reporters so that they might do a story on you. That's called earned media. You don't have to pay for it. So that's called earned media. And you hope to get earned media. You hope to be quoted in an article in Real Simple magazine or something like that, depending on where you want to show up. So you make pitches. Then there's also paid PR, which is where people will, it's a pay to play. It doesn't mean that it's not trustworthy, but you're paying. It's almost like what there's a term that was around for a long time called, instead of an advertisement, it was called an advertorial. And so it was like an editorial, but it was an ad sort of. And so you paid for it, but you could pay for that. Now, and it's okay to do paid every now and then, but the earned media is really what you want. And you want somebody to interview you and quote you and whatever, right? Then there's owned media. So there's the things that you do, like if you wrote a book or you have your videos or whatever, that's owned. And then there's shared, right? So you might share other people's stuff with your own thought leadership on it, right? So there's paid,
Ah,
and the woman that came up with this model, Ginny Dietrich, she's in Chicago, and she's a PR professional, and she calls it the peso method. So it's paid, earned, shared, owned. All right. Earned
mm,
is what I've always tried to help people with. Okay.
right.
So back then, before the internet went wild and before all the social media, um, it was basically print, TV, and radio. And
Okay.
really, we don't listen to radio much anymore. Like
Mm-mm.
hardly ever do I listen to a regular old radio station. Um, and and so getting on the radio was a great way, but now everybody has podcasts. And there's not so great podcasts, there's really good podcasts, and there's great and excellent podcasts. So that's where there's this standard of measure, like, oh, I would love to be on so and so's podcast, but it would be fun to be on Kathy Riley's podcast because she's got a really interesting podcast with really interesting guests and topics. And then it's up to you, Kathy, along with like me being your guest when this comes out. I'm going to share this far and wide to give you more bandwidth. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's being a resource. So you're being a resource when you serve that up. You're helping others, right? And so now, then there's, as far as TV, it's hard to get on TV, even local TV. There are
Yeah.
certain local stations in certain markets in certain states that are really healthy, and then there's others that are sort of cookie cutter because they don't look, there's no press pools like they used to be. When I was doing PR back in the 80s and 90s and 2000s, early 2000s, we had journalists that we built relationships with at certain things, at certain stations, magazines, radio stations. That's just, that's become really difficult, you know? And
Yeah.
so now it's like, okay, well, I want to be on TV in air quotes. So who has a really cool YouTube show? So think of some like a
Yeah.
Terry Gargala, who's in your Denver chapter, right? And if
Yes.
women, Terry's got Talking with Terry TV. And I've
Yeah.
gotten my clients on Terry's show. And even though you have to pay a fee for the production value, the thing is, her show is really greatly produced. Like it's got a high
Yes.
production value, 3 cameras in a studio. I mean, she knows what she's doing.
Yeah.
And so there's ways to create your visibility through using the networks that exist today. And I don't necessarily mean major TV networks. There's lots of different
Yes.
ways. So that's what I mean by disruptive PR. The other thing I say, sort of to be a little um, silly, but still make a point, I think PR stands for personal relationships. So,
Uh,
again, it's back to the relationship piece. It's if you don't want to be cookie cutter, then you're going to have to put effort in. It's not all going to fall from the sky.
oh,
If you want to
say
stand
that
out,
again, please.
you've got to be active in your networking because it's just not going to fall from the sky. Like it just doesn't. It's evolved, it's different, and you've got to find some uncommon ways, find one or two that you like and do those. It doesn't have to be 6 or 7 or 10.
Yeah, I love that. So juicy.
I'll give
So
you an example. When
juicy.
I was on Talking with Terry TV, I asked her for the original video,
Hmm.
and I made my own video snippets with her permission. I made my own little snippets to use in different places for my social content.
Yeah.
So, and she's like, I don't care what you do with it because it's going to make her look good too. And then whenever I
Right.
posted that on social media, I tagged her. I
Right. So
mentioned
then
her.
her people get it too.
It's a
So it's
win-win.
a,
Think about like
yes.
just think about when you're networking in real life and you're in person, don't you walk up to people and talk to them and you go, "Oh, I just met this woman over here. You need to meet her." And you go and grab them and go, "You need to come over and meet Kathy." And then it's like
Yeah.
that's what you do in person. Take that into the digital realm, if you will. And just be that generous connector.
Oh,
That's part
powerful.
of visibility too.
Yes. We talked about leveraging, right?
It's not vanity. There's a big difference between visibility and vanity. So
Okay,
this
tell
is not
us.
a meaning like this isn't like you're just doing this because you want to be in the spotlight. Do you know what I mean? You're
Yeah.
doing this with purpose and intention. That's the difference.
Yeah. There's actually some strategery behind
Strategery. I like that.
because I love that word. Behind getting on podcasts, getting on stages, having conversations, posting that video, doing all of that. It's a connecting the dots to grow.
Right. And when you're doing all this, because we're talking about this in this little container of time right now. So it's like I'm
Yeah.
fire hosing everybody. You need to do a video. You need to do this. You know what? Like I said, find what you like and then make a plan. You don't have to do all of this in 2 weeks. If
Right.
you post once a week on all of your channels, plan in the back end. Okay, I'm going to post on Monday on Instagram and I'm going to post on Wednesday on LinkedIn. And I'm going to do this. This is my topic, same topic, two different places, two different vibes. So if it's on Instagram, perhaps maybe you put up more visuals because Instagram is such a visual medium and it's a little more informal, silly, fun, whatever. And then over on LinkedIn, I'm going to post the same thing with maybe one photo or two photos, but I'm going to create it as a tip or a resource or something that's of service to people who do this thing or need this thing that I offer. Do you know what I mean? So just change up the tone for the platform you're on and then plan it out. You don't need to plan out 10 weeks. Plan out 4 weeks. One post a month, four posts, get them done at once and then schedule them.
Oh,
And by the way, you
I
can
love
get,
it.
if you only are on LinkedIn, you can actually schedule posts in LinkedIn now.
Oh, you can?
You can, you sure can.
I did not
When
even
you
know
go in to
that.
make a post in LinkedIn and you open up the little post box where you type in your stuff or you add a
Yeah.
photo, before you hit post, right next to the little blue post button is a little clock. You click on it and you can
Shut
schedule the
up.
date and the time
Yeah.
from right within LinkedIn. And it's
Thank
free.
you, LinkedIn.
Yes.
That's awesome. Is that the paid version or the regular
You know what?
version?
I have only the paid version. I don't know. I think it's on, I don't quote me on this. I'm not
I know.
sure.
I
I'm
know.
pretty
I'm gonna look.
sure it's across the board. But do you have
There's
premium
a
or
clock.
yeah, there you
There's a
go. And
clock.
so do you have the free version?
I do have the free
Okay, so there
version.
you go. So yes, it's on the free version too.
Yes,
Yeah.
friends, did you hear that? So, okay, one last question because we've covered so much and I could keep talking to you forever. So, what this is so good. This is so good. So for the persons that's listening that says, I don't need to be on LinkedIn because I'm not looking for a job.
Right. Oh gosh, I hear that all the time. If I had a dollar for every time.
So what would you say? Because I think that's a mistake, honestly. What do you say to that without
But no, that's
like
a
losing your
well, so admittedly, LinkedIn is a job seeking platform. It has
right?
been, it still is. However, comma, when Microsoft bought LinkedIn in 2016 for $26.2 billion,
Great googly
they
moogly.
they started evolving the platform. So LinkedIn has sort of two purposes now. Yes, you can still search for a job. It's primarily focused on job seeking, recruitment, talent acquisition, et cetera, et cetera. However, a lot of people now in business are using it as a marketing channel. So for these bigger companies that have bigger budgets for marketing and stuff, you can buy LinkedIn ads just like you can buy Facebook ads. And LinkedIn ads are far more expensive than like a Facebook ad campaign, by the way.
Okay.
But it's also, it can be, like I said, think of your profile presence as a place to leverage your personal brand. It's a mini landing page of you. And so build relationships there. You can turn off all the job stuff in their settings so that you're not getting all these job alerts and stuff like that. And have it be this this mini landing page of you and what you do to help people and what you offer and how you help. What's the outcome you provide?
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. Especially now that you can do newsletters and all of that.
Yes.
Okay. 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 I could keep talking to you forever. You guys, if you are loving this, please subscribe, like, share this podcast because it's so good. Miss Kate is amazing.
As
So
Betsy
what
Clark would say, it's juicy.
it's juicy. It's so juicy. So let me you have we're gonna do little popcorn style questions in 1 hot minute here, but for
Okay.
now, you have a gift for our audience. Can you
I
please
do.
share?
So you, I think, does this show up on a pod like show notes or something? So there's a
Yes,
QR
so
code that
the
you should
link will
have.
be in the notes.
Yep, yep. And it's for my LinkedIn profile slash personality quiz.
Mhm.
So my team and I put this quiz together for you to go through. It'll take you maybe 3 minutes to just kind of ask you some questions about how you show up on LinkedIn. And then based on your answers, you'll get a report back afterwards telling you where you fit in with a few little tips to make it better. And if you want to, you could get on a free, no obligation discovery call with me if you wanted to talk more about your LinkedIn profile. But the quiz itself will give you some little nuggets on its own. You don't need to get those by having a call with me, but you have the option to get on a call with me if you want to.
Right. And who wouldn't want to get on a call with you? That's a very generous. Those quizzes, what you do, what you bring to the table is absolutely phenomenal. So
Thank you.
you guys
Thank you, Beth.
take advantage, get down to the notes. If you're driving, don't do it
Yeah, don't do
now.
this now.
Wait till you stop, look at the notes, click the link, take the quiz and schedule time with Miss Kate because it's going to be super juicy, right?
Juicy,
It's
juicy.
just
Yes.
juicy. Okay. So now we're going to get to know you,
Okay.
Kate, a little
Okay. I'm
bit
going to brace
better.
myself.
Okay, yeah, put your seatbelt on.
Yep.
We're going to have
Where's
fun.
the
So
popcorn? You said popcorn style questions, but is there
it's
popcorn?
just, yeah, here, I'm throwing it at you.
Awesome. Got it. Received. Okay, we're good.
Would you consider yourself a morning or a night person?
Oh God, that's hard because it's changed. I used to be a night person. Now I'm more of a morning person, but I have my moments where I can't sleep, so I'm a night person.
So you go both ways.
Kinda. Yeah.
What, where do you like? Are you really like in your happy place in the morning or are you more in a happy place at night?
Hmm.
That's a tough one too.
It's a tough one too. It's not like a quick answer either. So in the morning, I love to have my coffee, hang out, sit outside, whatever, just kind of do my gratitude and get my day started and get charged up.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the day, I'm glad when my day is done. There's certain things I like to do. One of the things I love to do, this is the geek in me.
Ooh.
I love to do the New York Times games, the puzzles. So I do spelling bee, the connections, the Wordle, and I do all. And I literally that is my time every single night or afternoon, evening, where I just kind of go into my own little world and I do my games.
Oh, I
In
love
fact, my partner will come in and he'd
that.
be like, "What are you doing on your phone?" I'm like, "I'm doing my games." He's like,
Leave
"Oh."
me alone. I actually do that in the morning to try to
Yeah.
get my brain
I
going.
do
The connect.
sometimes. It depends. It just depends on the day. But I look forward to that as my end of day kind of
Yeah.
like, I get to like stimulate my brain in a creative way.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Okay. Would you say you are a sweet or salty person? Oh, if you were to eat, not person.
Salty. Salty.
Salty. Okay, okay. Now, if you were to have a wonderful meal, would it be home cooked home or would it be out at a restaurant?
Hmm. Out.
Out.
Yep. Out at a restaurant.
Um, do you have a favorite restaurant?
Oh gosh. One of the ones I love in Denver is Eddie V's. Have you ever eaten there?
I don't know that.
My partner takes me there for my birthday every year, and it is phenomenal.
Okay.
Yep. It's in the tech
We're
center.
gonna we're gonna have to check that out for date night. Okay. Are you more and don't overthink these, right? Just whatever pops. Are you beach or mountain?
Oh God. Both, but beach. I'm a water girl. So
Water girl.
beach, lakes. Yeah, I grew up on a lake and yeah. But I
Oh, I
love I
get that.
love hiking in mountains, but I'm definitely more, especially as I get older.
The beach doesn't hurt as much as the
It doesn't
mountains
hurt as
do.
much. And it's the sound and it's the air and it's
Yeah.
just the beach.
Yeah, it's the beach. I love it. I'm a Great Lakes state girl,
Yep.
so a lot of people look at that as it's kind of looking like an ocean. So I love the water as well. So I'm right
Yep.
with you. All right, so if you were to read, is it paper or Kindle
Audible.
or I was going to say
Audible
a
bar
lot of
none.
people are
I
Audible.
still
Okay.
love, but you know what I do? I'll
Yeah.
listen to the book on Audible and I'll usually buy the hard copy afterwards. So, for example, Mel Robbins' book, The Let Them Theory. I
Yes, I
listened
have
to
it
her
right here.
podcast. I listened to the book, which I loved because I love her podcast. So I love listening to Mel. Like I just like
Yeah.
her style.
Yeah.
But that's one of those books that there were so many lessons and it's a resource for me. I bought the hard copy so that I have it and I still like to use it as reference. I still love a book, but because of my life and driving and traveling and everything, I just like Audible because I can read more, frankly.
Yeah.
But I'll usually almost I'd say 8 times out of 10, I'll usually buy the book after because I love books.
Nice.
Yeah.
I
So
love that. Um Okay, so if you were to enjoy a show, is it a movie or a series?
series.
Series, is there a favorite series you
Oh
have?
God. Right now I'm so excited because Landman's starting, I think this weekend, the one with Billy
Oh,
Bob
is
Thornton.
it?
Yeah, the second season's
I love
coming out.
that.
I love
Okay.
Landman. Oh my God, I love all of them. I mean, I've loved The Crown. I've loved This Is Us. I mean, I run the gamut. I like true crime. I'm weird that way. So
Oh,
it's
my
like I get
daughter
in these
does
moods.
too.
It's like I'm in like my documentary phase. Then I'll
Okay.
go into like the lighthearted whatever. And then I'll be like, oh, I want to watch stand-up comedy. I mean, that's what I
Oh,
love about the streaming services is because I can just pick and choose depending on what I'm up for. Sometimes I only want something for 30 minutes,
yeah.
and then others times where it's like, okay, I'm gonna binge, and then I binge watch, and then I'm like, oh my God, I just wasted 6 hours.
Wait, it's Sunday. How did
I
that
know.
happen?
And sometimes I've squeezed it in on a work day, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm like, thank God I'm my own boss.
Note to self, when you're your own boss, you can binge watch
It's
stuff now every
right.
now and then. All
One
right,
of the things in the
so
pro column.
exactly. Okay. So you being a speaker, have you ever watched Zoolander? The
No,
movie Zoolander?
nope.
Okay, so that's with Ben Stiller and I forget the other guy's name. They are supermodels, male supermodels, and
Okay,
every time they walk in a room, they have a walk-on song. So
okay.
their mindset, it's like every time they just show up, they have a song. So when you show up, and whether you're taking stage or whatever, what is your walk-on song?
Well, I've always, when I speak at eWomen, I have to pick a walk-on song, and I've always picked a different one depending on the year. One of them is the one I used this year when we were at Icon together. I used Diana Ross's "I'm Coming Out" because it's just
Oh,
a great coming on stage song. It's like I'm coming out. I can't sing, and there's also the other song I love is Sarah Bareilles' "Brave." I
that
love
was
that. I love
that's
that song. So those are a couple.
yeah, Brave is one of the ones I use, and right now it's Golden by the Huntrix movie. Have
Oh,
you
I'm not
seen
familiar.
that
No.
or do you have Netflix?
Yes.
Okay, so Huntrix Demon Hunter. It is, if you know anything about K-pop, and if you don't,
I don't, but
you
okay.
should, because you
Okay.
talk about disruption.
Okay.
K-pop is
I
disrupting
keep
the
hearing about it, but
industry.
I haven't really like looked into it, but I will take your recommendation and
Yeah,
check it out. Thank you.
bomb diggity. So it's a movie, but the song from there, the Golden song, and it talks about voices, right?
Hmm.
And because that's what I'm about, unleashing your voice and showing up and shining. And I'm like, dude, that's my song.
There you go.
So love that. Thank you so much for your time
Thank
here
you.
today. You're
Thank you.
such,
Thank you.
it's just amazing. And we want to, as we go out back into the world, to think about how you can disrupt, right? How you can be visible and disrupt what's out there right now and show up and be amazing. Oh, I love it. Thank you, Miss Kate,
You're
for
so
being
welcome,
here.
Kathy. Thank you so much for having me. This has been fun.
This is awesome. And thank you for tuning in to Breaking Bad Communication. If today's episode sparked a new perspective or gave you a tool you can actually use, then that's the kind of conversation we love. Remember, powerful communication isn't about saying more. It's about saying what matters with confidence, clarity, and purpose. So if you're
Amen.
ready to, yeah. So if you're ready to speak up, stand out, and lead with your voice, we are here for you. Be sure to share and leave a review if this hits home. And until next time, keep showing up, keep speaking up, and let's keep breaking bad together.